Oh, welcome back to the Morning Blend. What a beautiful picture. Betty was a small-town wife and mother who hated baking cookies and gossip, but loved driving fast. And shortly after college, George left his small hometown and became a writer and editor in the publishing industry in New York City. George had only planned to go back home to help his aging mom for a few weeks, but life conspired to keep him there.
That's right. The memoir Bettyville shares their humorous and heartbreaking mother-son journey. It's a New York Times bestseller, and we're thrilled to welcome George Hodgman to the Morning Blend right here on the yellow couch. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having
Great
me.
to see you. That was actually a picture of your dad, right? Not you.
Yeah, it was my dad.
Sorry about that. Your mom was so cute.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
Adorable.
And even when she was older, she was very beautiful.
You've had some really high praise about the book that you've written. What do you, when you hear, that people say this is so humorous, it's touching, they really resonate with the story, it's, being turned into a TV, what do you feel about all that?
Well, when, I was an only child, and I was always scared of the period when my parents got older and I would have to take care of them, or, because I didn't think I knew how, and didn't know how to deal with Medicare or cook or any of these things, and I was scared. And I think that one thing that people can relate to in this book is that they're worried, and I'm very frank about the fact that I don't know how to take care of anybody. I didn't know what to do, and so it's kind of about learning, And
why did you decide to take care of your mom rather than maybe you put her in a assisted living facility or find a retirement home for her?
Well, she wouldn't go. She wouldn't go. She kind of had ideas of her own. She had dementia, and it was really clear that she got very disturbed if there was a lot of change, and I was afraid that she would lose, the things that she loved to do, the things that she still liked, and go downhill if she was with other people and who had that same condition. And also, it just worked, it worked for me to stay. We had a good time.
When you think about, all the experiences you had with your mom, what made you decide this has got to be written? This has got to be a book. People need to hear this story.
It just kind of started.
Yeah.
I did a Facebook post, and there were like 5,000 people who ultimately read it. Kept getting passed along, and I'm kind of a ham. And so once I get good attention, I want to do it again. I want to keep doing it. And,
it's a reward.
So I kept doing it. And a lady who knew us forever, but hadn't seen us together for a long time, came to visit. And she said, "You all are so funny together." And so I thought, we could be kind of a quirky comedy team. Most of these books are written about, good mothers and sweet saintly mothers and their sweet saintly daughters, and my mother and I were different, and so it could be a quirkier story.
One of the things you write about is your sexuality and being gay. Did you talk to your mom about that? Did she know?
Yes, she knew. We weren't real good at talking about that, but we, talking was not our strong point. She was. we were both kind of reserved people. But
was that important for you to write about?
I think it was important to write about because being home in this town, people who had gay kids approached me, and they really felt guilty. They were taking a lot from people in the community, and they kind of needed help with dealing with these things with their family, because it's a little, it's a lot more conservative there than in cities still.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Moving from New York City to your small town again, what kind of changes did you notice? Did you feel like you could fit in going home? Because I think that's a really difficult thing for people to fathom. My hometown is 600 people, and I think about the moment I may have to go back there to help care for my mother, and how would I feel being in my, as much as I love it, how would it feel to be in a space like that again?
It was surprisingly easy, and mainly because people were a lot more accepting than I expected. I think I'd been watching too much Fox News, and you know, I thought that, you know, I'd sort of fallen into the New York caricature of a small town, and it wasn't like that. And people were really good to me. They helped see me through my mom's death, and I mean, the only problem is you cannot get a decent bagel. I really miss. It's
or
like,
a big slice of pizza.
Yeah, there are things that one misses about New York City, and as I said on another show, Baptists don't make really good bagels. So you know, there are certainly some things that you do without.
Well, and I wonder what the future holds for you, because I like your honesty about the fact that this memoir kind of was written out of a place of loneliness and isolation. And I think you can imagine that, especially if you think your parent, who's cared for you for a big chunk of your life, now suddenly you're caring for them, but they're not always there, so to speak. And so I would think, especially as an only child, not having siblings to share that experience with, there is some loneliness and isolation. And I wonder what's next for you, especially now that she's gone and you're not a caretaker anymore. And what advice maybe you have for people who also feel lonely and isolated and are caretakers?
Well, I think I felt scared. I felt scared that I couldn't do it well enough. That was my big thing. You know, if I had any advice, well, I have two pieces. One is you find one thing every day that makes them happy. You know, whether it's food,
What
whether
was it
it's
for your mom?
a lot cinnamon rolls, gin and tonic. She liked a gin and tonic. But sometimes it was a ride, you know, to a good place. You find one thing every day, and so you can go to bed thinking that, you know, you've given them a little happy moment. And the other thing is, it was really, really important with my mother to keep her appearance up.
Yes.
And if you're changing inside, it's really good for you to be able to look in the mirror and see someone who is familiar.
Yeah.
So, you know, we put like 900,000 miles on our car going to hairdressers, which, because my mother was very particular about her hair. And so
Good
that appearance
Good
helps.
for you
That you
for making
recognize
that
that.
important.
I
really
think
sweet.
I think it's a book that many people can relate to and love. You've got a book signing tonight. It's at 7 o'clock. It's at Boswell Book Company right on Downer. You can get your copy of Bettyville. I'm sure that you'll relate. If not, you're going to laugh. You're going to cry. You're going to love it. Thanks for being here.
You're the best. Thank
Really
you.
great to meet you. Thank
Take
you
good
so
care.
much.